Hello and welcome back to another exciting HTML tutorial. I'm Ben Taylor. Let's get started. Okay, why don't you go ahead and open up Notepad if you haven't already opened it up. And let's get started by saving our document, File, Save As. And I'm going to go ahead and make a new folder for this. Go ahead and make a new folder with me, HTML. You can say second site or just call it HTML tables. Today we're going to be learning how to make tables in HTML. I know what you're thinking, tables? Like the table you sit at to eat lunch? No, kids. I'm talking about HTML tables. And so of course I'm going to save this as tables, and then remember I'm going to go and find HTML, Hypertext Markup Language, right? Make sure to save it as an HTML file. Very important. I'm going to go ahead and save it in this folder as tables.html. Hit save. There we go. All right, so let's get started building up the skeleton of our HTML page. We already know that we need a doc type tag, then we need an HTML tag, and we need to close that HTML tag. Then we need a head and a body tag. We need to close both of those. Okay, so there we have a skeleton set up. I'm going to go ahead and maximize this, and let's get creating some HTML. First I'm going to create an h1 tag, my first table, and then I'm going to show you guys how to create links. So on your first page I didn't show you how to actually link to anything. So today I'm going to show you how to link to something, and that's actually an anchor tag. And an anchor tag just looks like this, an A, and then you close it off. And then in here you could put words, or in my case I'm going to put an H2, and I'm going to say click here for help. And then I'm going to close that H2. Now this won't do anything. If we ran this page right now, what do you think is going to happen? Here we have a link, but nothing's happening, is it? We actually have to give an attribute to this link to make it work. So why don't we go ahead and do that? I'm going to introduce you to the href attribute. Now, within these parentheses, we want to put a web address to go to. And there's a very specific web address I want you guys to navigate to. It is https://www.w3schools.com/html_tables.asp. So now when we save this, Control S, we'll go ahead and hit run again. Launch in Chrome. As you can see, since we added that href link, now see what happens to this? It's underlined, it changes color, and our cursor changes to a little hand. So now we know this is a link, and if we click on it, it'll take us to this other page. Now, I actually want this link to pop up in a new tab, so I'm going to show you how to do that as well. So there's another attribute we can add called target. Target equals _blank. What this attribute is going to do is it's going to open up this link in a new tab. So I'll go ahead and save this, go back over to my website, click refresh, and when I click this, a new tab pops up. Now, W3 Schools is an excellent resource for learning HTML, CSS, JavaScript. There is a ton of information here, just a wealth of knowledge. And if you run into any problems with tables throughout this course, you're going to want to come here. If you're interested in learning more about HTML, you want to know how to make your websites do interactive things, or you just want to go deeper into programming for the web, this is an excellent starting place for you. Keep this link and come to the site, do some exploration, look through some of the topics, try some of the examples, and you'll learn a lot. Okay, let's move on. We're talking about tables today. So, table tag looks like this. And then I need to close it. I have to put some content nested within the table tag. So there's something called a table header, and it's th. So within here, I could put perhaps an H1, and say my first table. And then I'll close that table head. All right. And now let's go back to our page and refresh. You can't see the table, but we've created one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to do some CSS to kind of style your table so you can see that it's there as we build it, okay? You may not understand all the things we're about to do here, but they will make sense in the future as you continue down your path towards learning HTML and CSS. So I'm going to introduce you to the style tag. Now I'm going to put the style up here in the head and close it off. And then I'm going to show you how to access different portions of your page and style them with CSS. Yes, we're writing CSS right now. So I'm going to go ahead and write some stuff out. I want you to copy it down. You may not understand it just yet, but it will make sense in the future. Just think of this as me exposing you to the world of CSS, a world that I hope you find a lot of joy in exploring. So I will just go ahead and type out some of this here, and I'll kind of explain some of it, but I'm not too worried if it goes over your head because you're going to be learning this for a while. Oh, sorry, width. That should say width. There we go. And let's go border collapse. Collapse. I'll turn some of these on and off for you so you can see the difference. And you feel free to experiment with this stuff. Save and then go back and look at your code and refresh. So I've moved this to the center now. I've made it all the way across the screen with this width 100%. This border dash collapse you won't see an effect on yet. So what I want to do now is target my table, and I want to give it a border of 1 pixel solid black. There's a lot of things I could change here. I could change the size, I could change the type, and I could change the color, but I'm just going to leave it at that for right now. And let's go back and look at our table, and boom, we now have a border around our table in its full width. And now I just want to show you what would happen if we turned off border collapse here. I'll just go ahead and comment that out. Let me show you how to make comments in CSS. It's kind of different than HTML. It's a slash, and then a star, and then a star, and then a slash. And that will comment this out right here. Okay, so we'll go back, refresh, and you can't see, but there's something that changed here. It's not super noticeable, but we're going to come back to that code, and we're going to turn this back on. But I want you to see what it does, just so you don't think I'm just typing things to look cool. I'm really not, I promise. Okay, so why don't we actually go back to our table now? So we'll come back down here, and let's put in a little more content here so that we can make changes to the style of it up here. But first we need to get the skeleton in place, the content. So I'm going to create something called a table row. It's a TR tag. And then I'm going to create table data within that table row. So first I'll close that table row off. And then, so what this process is called nesting. Whenever I put an element within another element, so when I put a tag, for instance, up here with this, this anchor tag, I've also nested an H2 element in there. Let me reformat this to make it even easier to see. I like to keep things neat and organized on my page. So I have this A tag, and then I close it off. And then within it, I have these H2 tags. That's called nesting. And so with tables, you're definitely doing a lot of nesting. So now, within these table rows, I'm going to put table data. So TD. And then I'll close that TD. All right, and then I will copy and paste this a couple times, like 3 times. And I'll just put some numbers in there. 1, 2, 3. I'll hit save, go back over to my code, and there I have 1, 2, and 3. And they're not very big, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make them a little bit bigger by targeting them up here in my CSS or in these style tags. So I'll make a comment here. I'll do table head, table row, and table data. Save that, come back, refresh, and now you can see I've got all these lines here. Now what I want you to know is I'm going to zoom in a little bit. See how I have these double lines in here? I don't like that. That is why I had this border collapse on here. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the comments, save it again, and you'll see the difference when I refresh. There you go. So I just wanted to get rid of that extra border there. I don't like it. Doesn't look good to me. Okay, and I get that this doesn't look very good right now, but we're just putting in the skeletal structure. We'll style it here in just a little bit, and I'll show you guys how that works. So let's keep going. So I've got these table data here. So I'm actually going to go ahead and duplicate this out right here. Control C, Control V. And I will actually put in words here so that it's very clear what's going on. 1, 2, 3, spelled out. We'll go ahead and save that, go back, refresh, and there I have these words here as well. Okay, so as we're building this out, you can see here, this is not looking right. This should be going all the way across, and it's not, and that is because of an attribute that we need to add in our table head. And I will show you what that attribute is. It is called, drumroll, colspan, and it stands for column span. And so this column, I need it to span for 3 spaces. Now, why 3? Because I've created 3 table rows. So I need it to go for 3 column spans. So maybe it doesn't make sense, but when we refresh this and go over here, you can see now it spans all the way across these 3. Let's say I had created an extra table data right here. Name this 4. And I went ahead and made an extra table data down here. Labeled this 4. I'll save that, refresh, and watch what happens. Once again, it breaks this table head. That's because I have to, if I'm going to add that much table data in here, I'm going to have to make this colspan 4, right? And now, when I refresh, you can see it fixes that. Okay, so hopefully this is starting to make sense. Maybe it's going over your head, but I promise you if you keep this code and play with it a little bit, you'll start to understand how tables work exactly. So let's go back into our style sheet here, and I'm going to add a couple things here just to make things a little bit cleaner and neater and help you to see kind of what your tables are doing. So I'm going to add some padding. What this is going to do, so I'm going to add 20 pixels of padding. That's going to make it a little bit larger around the content. You'll see that in just a second. And then I'm going to text align center, which you guys already know that one from the last lesson. That's going to center the data within the tables. So I'll refresh now. And as you can see, I've added a little bit of padding around all these elements, 20 pixels on each side. And I've centered everything. So I'm starting to like the look of this table. So let's keep moving on. All right, there's one other thing I'm going to do here. And I don't expect this to completely make sense, but I'm going to target all the table rows. And every nth child on every even number. So it's just going to skip one and then go to the next. I'm going to change the background color. And I'm going to change the background color to gray. Now, I'm going to teach you about hexadecimal color values. You probably haven't heard about them yet. It's possible you have. But hexadecimal color values are really simple to understand. You've all heard of RGB, right? Well, if I put a hashtag here and I think of 6 digits, so I have 6 digits, so 000000. If I have these 6 digits, the first 2 are going to be R, the second 2 are going to be G, and the third 2 are going to be B. So they equate to red, green, and blue. Okay? So with hexadecimal, I have from 0 all the way to F. So that's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then A, B, C, D, E, F. There's 16 values here I can use. So if I want something to be really red, I'm going to use F. Okay? So I'm going to go FF0000. Now, if you were paying attention, you know that this is actually going to be red. Watch what happens when I refresh. Red. Let's say I wanted green. I will go 0, 0. So this is red, R. This is G for green. So I'm going to go FF on green and leave blue and red at 0 and refresh. And now I've got green. I'll do it one more time for blue. 0, 0 on green, and FF on blue. Save it, refresh, and now it's blue. That's how RGB color data is input into HTML. And you can also shorthand it a little bit. So I could just go F00 like this, and guess what color I'm going to get? Red. Or 0F0. Save it, refresh, green, and of course F for blue. Save it and refresh, and it's blue. Okay, I'm going to actually just go with a gray color, so I'll go down the line and just go DDD. Let's just do that, and I'll refresh, and now it's kind of a light gray. I like that. That looks good to me. So let's keep moving, and we'll build out our table here. I'm going to go with another table row, and I'll close it out. And then within that, I'm going to put only 2 table datas. 1 and 2. Right here. Okay, so what's going to happen when I do this? What do you guys think? I'll go ahead and refresh, and I'm going to zoom out a little bit. We were at 200% there, so I'll just bring it out like that. And as you can see, my table kind of breaks off there. Now, I don't want it to break off there, so what am I going to do? I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to introduce you to some col span and row span. So watch this. Col span equals 2. And then down here, row span equals 2. I'm going to go ahead and save this, go back, and watch what happens. As you can see, I have one that's spanning 2 data elements. And this one, it may seem like it's broken right now. It looks like it's not working right. I remember said row span 2. Now we haven't used row span yet, but that's for going vertically. So why is this not working? Well, why don't I show you by putting it here instead? I'm going to take this row span attribute and cut it. And I'll go ahead and put it right here on this 4. And let's see what we get here. As you can see, now 4 spans 2 vertically, and 1 spans 2 horizontally. It may seem a little bit confusing. I'm going to put a note in here, and I want you to put this same note inside of your project, because I don't want you to forget this. This is something that really confuses people on this project, and it is quite simple. This row span here is vertical span, right? It may sound weird. When I think of a column, I think of vertical, but don't think that. Think opposites. When you think col span, I want you to think horizontal. And that lets us span vertically or horizontally, any way we want. Okay, and I want you to play around with those col span and row span. I want you to understand that concept. Definitely keep these notes. Keep this project that you've just built, because this project is going to become very important for building out your first table assignment, which is actually a table scavenger hunt. It's super exciting. I know you're going to love it. I think that's it. So with that, I will see you in the next one. Good luck coding. Oh, and so one quick hint. You will be using images and nesting them within this table data right here in your next assignment. And what a lot of you guys are going to run into is that same resizing thing. Make sure that if you forgot how to resize an image using Paint or Photoshop, go ahead and watch that first tutorial again, and that will refresh you on that. And I will leave you with that.